You are looking at 3 USA state quarters that look completely ordinary, but one of them could quietly be worth far more than you ever imagined. Welcome to RE Coins News, where today we reveal the Connecticut Charter Oak, Tennessee Musical Heritage, and Oregon Crater Lake quarters, 3 coins hiding history, errors, and shocking value right inside your pocket. Stay till the end, because the last coin might redefine everything you thought you knew about spare change. Let's get started. This Connecticut 1788 state quarter is one of those coins that can look ordinary for a second, and then suddenly feel loaded with symbolism, mystery, and collector energy the moment you really study it. Issued in 1999 as part of the famous 50 state quarters program, it carries the image of the legendary Charter Oak, a tree that holds a fierce place in early American memory. On one side you have George Washington with the familiar inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter, while the reverse pulls you into Connecticut's colonial identity with Connecticut 1788, the Charter Oak, E Pluribus Unum, and the 1999 date. What makes this quarter instantly powerful is that it does not just show a tree for decoration. It shows a tree that became a symbol of resistance, secrecy, and the determination to protect self-government. That alone gives this coin a dramatic personality far beyond its face value. The real historical fire behind this coin comes from the Charter Oak story itself, and that is where this piece becomes much more than spare change. According to the famous colonial legend, Connecticut's royal charter was hidden inside a massive oak tree in 1687 to keep it from being seized by Sir Edmund Andros, the English governor who was trying to tighten royal control over the colonies. Whether every detail of the story survives exactly as told or not, the legend became one of the most powerful symbols of colonial defiance in New England. That means when collectors look at this quarter, they are not just seeing branches and bark, they are seeing a visual monument to political courage. The coin quietly captures a pre-revolutionary American spirit, a moment when people were already resisting outside control long before independence was formally declared. That is exactly why the design hits so hard. It turns a tree into a national statement. The 1999 Connecticut quarter also matters because it belongs to one of the most explosive and successful modern coin programs ever released by the United States Mint. The 50 State Quarters series pulled millions of people into coin collecting, including families, beginners, and casual treasure hunters who had never cared about coins before. Connecticut was among the very first state quarters issued, and that early place advantage gave it extra visibility in circulation. Because it was part of the opening wave, many people saved it, searched it, and remembered it, which helped cement it as a recognizable modern classic. But popularity is a strange thing in coin collecting. It makes a coin widely known, yet it also creates fierce attention around the best surviving examples, the rare errors, and the silver proofs. So while ordinary circulated pieces are common, premium examples can still become highly desirable. That split between common survival and uncommon excellence is where collector excitement begins. Now, if you are talking about real value, the first thing to understand is that not every Connecticut quarter is rare just because it is old-looking or tied to a famous state design. Most regular 1999 circulation strikes from Philadelphia or Denver are worth only a modest amount unless they are in exceptional condition. But the moment you move into blazing uncirculated grades, original mint luster, sharp strikes, and nearly flawless surfaces, the market changes fast. High-grade coins certified by major grading services can sell for surprisingly strong prices because top-end survivors are much harder to find than people expect. Modern quarters were made in huge numbers, but they were also knocked around in bags, rolls, and circulation, so clean gem examples with superior eye appeal stand out. In numismatics, rarity is not always about low mintage alone. Sometimes it is about how few examples remain truly beautiful. The silver version makes the story even more interesting. If your coin is a genuine silver Connecticut quarter, that usually points to the special proof issues made for collector sets rather than normal circulation. These were struck in 90% silver and sold directly to collectors, giving them a different status from the copper-nickel quarters most people found in change. A silver-proof Connecticut quarter often shows sharper detail, stronger mirrors, and a richer overall presentation, which instantly gives it more collector appeal. But condition still rules everything. A silver proof with haze, scratches, or handling problems may be attractive but not elite, while a deeply mirrored, premium quality example can be far more desirable. This is where many people get overly excited and assume silver automatically means huge money, but smart collectors know the truth is more nuanced. Silver adds desirability, yet true premium value comes from the full package of metal, preservation, eye appeal, and certification. Era coins are where the noise gets loud and the market gets thrilling. A Connecticut quarter with a dramatic off-center strike, doubled die, clipped planchet, wrong planchet strike, broad strike, or major die crack can become vastly more interesting than a normal example. Era collectors love coins that visibly show the mint doing something it was never supposed to do, because those mistakes create accidental rarity. On this quarter, strong doubling in lettering, striking misalignment, or missing edge features can turn an otherwise normal state quarter into a standout collectible. Some errors are subtle and require magnification, while others jump out instantly and create that jaw-dropping, "this is not normal" effect that collectors chase. That is why people still search rolls and old jars today. The possibility that a common-looking quarter might carry an uncommon mint mistake is one of the most addictive forces in the hobby. There is also a big emotional reason this coin remains memorable. The design is elegant without being loud, historical without feeling dusty, and symbolic without becoming confusing. The Charter Oak image has a stately strength to it. It feels rooted, defiant, and almost theatrical, like a living witness to colonial tension. That visual seriousness gives the coin a dignity many modern commemoratives never achieve. Instead of relying on a flashy scene crowded with details, the Connecticut quarter uses one iconic image and lets the history do the work. That is powerful design thinking. It invites curiosity. Someone sees the tree, then asks why the tree matters, and the answer opens into an entire story about colonial rights, political identity, and early American resistance. Coins that trigger that kind of curiosity tend to survive in public memory far longer than coins that are merely decorative. In the end, the Connecticut 1788 Charter Oak Quarter is not just a state coin. It is a compact historical drama struck into metal. It represents the beginning of a massively popular coin program. It honors one of the most legendary symbols in Connecticut history, and it offers collectors several lanes of interest through circulation finds, high-grade survivors, silver proofs, and mint errors. Most examples will never make anyone rich overnight, but the best ones absolutely deserve respect and careful attention. A superbly preserved business strike, a premium silver proof, or a dramatic era piece can be worth far more than face value and far more than casual owners realize. That is the real magic of this quarter. It blends accessibility with possibility. It may begin life as 25 cents, but in the right form, with the right quality, and in the right collector market, it becomes something much bigger, a loud little piece of American history with roots, legend, and value, all wrapped into one unforgettable coin. Coin number 2. The 2000p Tennessee quarter is one of those coins that quietly carries an entire cultural symphony inside a small piece of metal, and the moment you understand what it represents, it becomes far more than just 25 cents. Released in the year 2000, as the 16th coin in the legendary 50-state quarters program, this piece celebrates Tennessee's admission to the Union in 1796 and honors the state's deep, unstoppable musical heritage. On the obverse, George Washington stands with his familiar profile surrounded by United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and Quarter Dollar, while the reverse bursts with symbolic instruments, a fiddle, a trumpet, and a guitar, representing three of the most powerful musical traditions born on Tennessee soil. What makes this coin instantly magnetic is that it does not just show music for decoration. It shows music as identity. Tennessee is not merely a place on a map. It is a sound, a rhythm, a feeling, and this quarter captures that spirit in copper, nickel, and silver. That alone gives it a personality most coins never achieve, because most designs honor events or buildings, but this one honors something invisible and immortal, music itself. The historical fire behind this coin burns brightly because Tennessee's musical legacy is not a side note. It is the heartbeat of American sound itself. The fiddle on the coin represents the Appalachian and old-time string music of East Tennessee, where settlers carried European folk traditions across mountains and turned them into something entirely new. The trumpet stands for the blues and soul of West Tennessee, where Memphis became a launching pad for sounds that changed the world. The guitar represents Central Tennessee and Nashville, the undisputed capital of country music. 3 instruments, 3 regions, 1 state, and 1 unforgettable contribution to global culture. When you hold this quarter, you are holding a miniature monument to the birthplace of gospel, country, blues, and rock and roll influences that shaped artists from Elvis Presley to B.B. King to Johnny Cash. The designers of this coin made a brilliant choice by not featuring a building or a battle. They featured sound, because sound is Tennessee's truest monument. The Philadelphia Mint mark on this coin, shown as a small p, is significant because it connects this piece to one of the oldest and most respected minting facilities in American history. The Philadelphia Mint has been striking coins since the earliest days of the Republic, and when the 50-state quarters program launched, Philadelphia became one of the 2 primary production centers alongside Denver. The 2000p Tennessee quarter was produced in massive numbers for circulation, which means millions of these coins entered everyday life across the country. That huge mintage is a double-edged sword for collectors. On one side, it means the coin is easy to find, widely recognized, and accessible to everyone from beginners to seasoned numismatists. On the other side, it means that most examples show heavy wear, contact marks, dull surfaces, and circulation damage. That is exactly why the rarest and most valuable versions are not the common circulated ones, but the exceptional survivors that somehow stayed pristine despite the odds. In coin collecting, massive production often hides tiny pockets of true rarity, and that is where the Tennessee quarter becomes fascinating. When it comes to value, the conversation splits into 2 dramatically different worlds. In one world, a normal circulated 2000p Tennessee quarter pulled from pocket change is worth exactly what it says, 25 cents, maybe slightly more to a casual collector. In the other world, a brilliant uncirculated example with full original mint luster, razor-sharp strike detail, and no distracting marks can be worth significantly more. The jump from circulated to gem mint state is where prices climb, because finding a modern quarter in near-perfect condition is far harder than people assume. These coins were struck by the millions, bagged, rolled, shipped, and dumped into circulation where they were banged against each other relentlessly. So when a collector finds one that survived all of that with blazing surfaces and crisp detail, that coin becomes special. High-grade certified examples, especially those graded MS65 or above, can command strong premiums because they represent the absolute best of an enormous mintage. The lesson is simple but powerful. In numismatics, condition is king, and within a sea of common coins, the few gems rise to the top. The silver version of the Tennessee quarter opens an entirely different and more premium chapter of this coin's story. The United States Mint produced special silver-proof sets in 2000 that included a 90% silver version of the Tennessee quarter, struck with carefully polished dies and multiple strikes to achieve a deeply mirrored, frosted, and razor-sharp appearance. These silver proofs were never meant for circulation. They were created specifically for collectors who wanted something finer, more beautiful, and more permanent than a regular coin. A silver Tennessee proof quarter has a warmth and richness that the copper-nickel version cannot match, with a distinctive ring and weight that immediately tells an experienced collector this is something different. But even among silver proofs, condition and quality still separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. A silver proof with perfect mirrors, no haze, no spots, and flawless eye appeal can be worth much more than a typical proof example. The market rewards perfection, and on a coin like this, perfection is measured in reflections, frosted details, and the absence of even the smallest imperfection. Era coins are where the Tennessee quarter becomes truly loud, dramatic, and sometimes shockingly valuable. Because the mint produced enormous quantities of these quarters in 2000, the production pressure was intense, and that pressure occasionally created striking anomalies that escaped quality control, and entered circulation. A Tennessee quarter with a major off-center strike, doubled die, clipped planchet, die crack, broad strike, or wrong planchet error can transform from a common coin into a highly sought-after collector piece. Double die errors, where the design shows visible doubling in the lettering or instruments, are especially exciting because they are noticeable and dramatic. A fiddle or trumpet that appears doubled on the coin creates an instant visual surprise that collectors love. Wrong planchet errors, where the Tennessee design was accidentally struck on a cent blank or a foreign coin blank, are extremely rare and can bring astonishing prices. Even smaller errors like die cracks running through the instruments or repunched mint marks add personality and value. The thrill of error hunting is that you never know when a common quarter might reveal an uncommon secret, and that possibility keeps collectors searching rolls, bags, and old collections with relentless energy. The design itself deserves special attention because it is one of the most emotionally resonant reverses in the entire 50-state quarters program. The fiddle, trumpet, and guitar are arranged in a balanced, almost musical composition that feels rhythmic and alive. Below them, a banner with musical heritage spells out the theme, while E pluribus unum arcs across the top and 2000 marks the year. The arrangement is clean but powerful. It does not crowd the coin with too many elements, and it lets each instrument breathe visually. That design discipline is important because state quarters had limited space and many designs suffered from overcrowding. Tennessee's design succeeds by keeping the message clear. This state gave America its voice. The instruments are not generic. They are specific to the three grand divisions of Tennessee, and that regional precision gives the coin authenticity. It is not just a pretty picture. It is a geography lesson, a music history lesson, and a cultural tribute, all compressed into a space smaller than a postage stamp. That kind of layered storytelling is what separates a forgettable coin from one that stays in your memory. This quarter carries the soul of a state that gave America its most influential sounds, from mountain fiddles to Memphis blues to Nashville guitars. It was born from one of the most popular coin programs in history, and it remains one of the most culturally rich designs in the entire 50-state quarters series. Most examples are common, but the finest survivors, whether blazing gem mint state coins, deep mirror silver proofs, or dramatic error pieces, can be worth far more than anyone expects from a modern quarter. That is the real beauty of this coin. It is accessible enough for anyone to find, meaningful enough for anyone to appreciate, and valuable enough in the right form to surprise even experienced collectors. If you ever come across one of these musical quarters, take a moment to look at it closely, because inside that small circle of metal, you are not just seeing a state, you are hearing a song that helped define a nation. Coin number 3. The 2005 Oregon State Quarter is one of those coins that feels calm at first glance, and then suddenly becomes breathtaking once you understand what it is really showing. Issued as part of the celebrated 50-state quarters program, this coin honors Oregon's entry into the Union in 1859, but its true visual star is the unforgettable image of Crater Lake, one of the most dramatic natural landmarks in the United States. On the front, the familiar portrait of George Washington appears with United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter, while the reverse opens a window into Oregon's wild beauty with Oregon 1859, Crater Lake 2005, and E pluribus unum. What makes this coin hit so hard is that it does not celebrate a politician, a battle, or a building. It celebrates raw natural majesty. That instantly gives it a different kind of power, because this quarter feels less like ordinary money and more like a tiny national postcard struck in metal. The history behind the design makes the coin even stronger, because Crater Lake is not just a pretty lake with blue water. It is the deep volcanic heart of Mount Mazama, a massive volcano that collapsed thousands of years ago after a catastrophic eruption, leaving behind a crater that slowly filled with rain and snowmelt. What remained became the deepest lake in the United States and one of the most visually haunting places in North America. That means this quarter quietly holds a story of fire, destruction, collapse, and rebirth. The image on the reverse may look peaceful, but the geological history behind it is explosive. That contrast gives the coin a dramatic soul. Collectors love coins that tell more than one story, and this piece does exactly that. On the surface, it shows beauty. Underneath, it speaks of ancient violence, natural transformation, and the almost unbelievable force of the earth itself. The design choice was brilliant because Oregon could have selected forests, pioneers, wagons, or state symbols that would have felt expected and safe. Instead, it chose something deeper and more cinematic. The reverse captures Crater Lake with Wizard Island rising from the water, a scene that feels mysterious even to people who have never visited Oregon. There is a sharp emotional pull in that design. It suggests silence, depth, distance, and the feeling that nature has secrets older than memory. State quarters often struggled with crowded artwork and too many symbols competing for attention, but Oregon's coin works because it is restrained. It trusts the landscape. That confidence gives the piece elegance. Rather than shouting with complexity, it commands attention through atmosphere. In the world of modern U.S. coinage, that makes it stand apart as one of the most visually refined state quarter designs ever released. Because this coin was struck in 2005, many people assume it is too modern to matter, but that is exactly where modern coin collecting becomes exciting. The 50 State Quarters series brought millions of new collectors into the hobby, and Oregon's quarter quickly became one of the most admired scenic issues in the entire program. The Philadelphia Mint struck huge numbers of the 2005 Oregon quarter for circulation, which means regular examples are not rare in a strict mintage sense. But coin value is never only about how many were made. It is also about how many survived in top condition. Modern quarters were produced in enormous quantities, but they were dumped into commerce, scraped against other coins, marked in bags, and worn down in circulation. That means a truly sharp, blazing, gem-quality survivor is far harder to find than casual owners realize. In numismatics, massive production can still hide genuine scarcity at the top end. Now comes the part that most collectors care about most: value. A normal circulated 2005 Oregon quarter is usually worth face value or only a tiny premium, which surprises people who expect every older-looking quarter to be a jackpot. But once you move into brilliant uncirculated territory, especially coins with strong luster, clean surfaces, and excellent strike detail, the price picture changes fast. A high-grade certified example can command significantly stronger money because modern clad quarters in elite condition are surprisingly difficult to preserve. Tiny nicks, dull patches, weak strikes, and rough handling eliminate huge numbers of coins from the premium tier. That is why grading matters so much. The distance between an average coin and a top-end coin may seem small to a beginner, but in the market that distance can mean a dramatic jump in value. The Oregon quarter is a perfect example of that truth. Most are common, but the best are respected, chased, and often far more valuable than people expect. The silver question adds another important layer, and this is where many people get confused. If your coin carries a P mint mark from Philadelphia, that usually means it is a regular circulation strike made in copper-nickel clad composition, not silver. The true silver versions of state quarters were generally struck as special proof issues for collector sets, and those were made at San Francisco, typically with an S mint mark. That distinction matters because many people see a bright or shiny quarter and assume silver automatically. Real silver-proof Oregon quarters are different animals entirely. They were specially made for collectors in 90% silver, struck with polished dies and multiple blows to create mirrored fields and frosted details. So if someone says 2005 Oregon silver quarter, that combination should be checked carefully, because the coin may simply be a bright clad piece unless there is an unusual error or misunderstanding involved. Knowing that detail alone can save collectors from false assumptions and help them focus on the real sources of value. Where the Oregon quarter gets truly exciting is in the area of errors and unusual varieties, because that is where a common-looking coin can suddenly become a collector prize. A dramatic off-center strike, clipped planchet, broad strike, die crack, double die lettering, wrong planchet strike, or other obvious mint mistake can transform this quarter from an ordinary state coin into something genuinely special. Era collectors are drawn to coins that escape the mint in a form the mint never intended, and every visible mistake tells a story of mechanical failure, chance survival, and accidental rarity. On the Oregon quarter, strong doubling in the lettering or a spectacular strike error can be especially attractive because the design is otherwise so clean and balanced. When that calm landscape is interrupted by a dramatic production flaw, the contrast becomes unforgettable. That is why serious roll hunters still inspect modern state quarters with so much intensity. One unusual piece hidden among hundreds of ordinary ones can completely change the search. There's also something uniquely powerful about the emotional atmosphere of this coin that helps explain why it remains memorable. Many coins are busy, patriotic, loud, or symbol-heavy, but the Oregon quarter is almost meditative. It invites the eye inward. The water, the island, the open space, and the sense of distance all create a mood that few coins achieve. Yet beneath that calm image is a harder truth. This lake exists because a mountain exploded and collapsed. That tension between serenity and catastrophe gives the coin extraordinary depth as an artistic object. It is not just a state emblem. It is a reminder that some of the most beautiful things in America were born out of unimaginable violence in the natural world. That kind of layered meaning is exactly what keeps a coin alive in the collector imagination. A piece like this does not need noise to feel important. It feels important because it contains silence, power, and history all at once. In the end, the 2005 Oregon quarter is one of the most visually striking and intellectually satisfying coins in the entire 50-state quarters series. It honors Oregon's statehood, showcases one of America's most awe-inspiring natural wonders, and gives collectors a coin with real depth beyond its denomination. Most circulated Philadelphia pieces are not rare in everyday condition, but high-grade survivors, major mint errors, and true silver-proof issues can be far more desirable than the average person suspects. That is the real magic of this coin. It begins as a simple quarter and then reveals itself as a story of volcanic destruction, natural rebirth, artistic restraint, and collector potential. So when someone finds an Oregon quarter and thinks it is just another modern coin, they are missing the bigger picture. This is a piece of American landscape history struck into metal, and in the right condition or form, it can absolutely become a standout collectible with beauty, mystery, and real market appeal.